You were not a cop. You were not a soldier. You weren't even technically allowed to touch anyone. You had a flashlight, a badge from a dollar store, and a walkie-talkie that picked up someone's garage door signal more than your actual supervisor. And somehow your job title had the word security in it. This is the story of how you spent months protecting buildings that didn't care about you, stopping threats you weren't trained for, and earning less per hour than a large pizza costs. Welcome to the most underpaid, underappreciated, overly dramatic job in human history. Welcome to being a security guard. Let's go level by level. The uniform. They hand you the uniform, and immediately, red flag. The shirt is 2 sizes too big. Not slightly big, tent big. You look like a child wearing their father's costume from a clearance bin Halloween sale. The badge is plastic. Not shiny plastic, not convincing plastic. The kind of plastic that, if you squint, looks like it came free with a Happy Meal. You clip it on anyway. You feel powerful for approximately 4 seconds. Then they hand you the flashlight. It flickers. You tap it, it works. You tap it again, it flickers. You will spend the next several months in a complicated, emotionally exhausting relationship with this flashlight. Your first post? A shopping mall. Suburban. Quiet. Empty by 9 p.m. Your job? Walk the floor every hour. Check the doors, write it down. That's the whole job. Walk, check, write it down. You make $11 an hour, which sounds okay until you do the math and realize that after taxes, bus fare, and the antacids you'll need for the vending machine dinner you're about to eat, you are essentially being paid in the concept of employment. First night, you walk the mall. You check the doors. You write it down. You sit in the food court at 1 a.m. and eat a sandwich you made at home because the Subway closed at 8. You watch a flickering neon sign buzz on and off for 20 minutes. You think about every decision that led to this moment. You eat the sandwich. You go back to walking. This is your life now. The routine. 2 weeks in and the existential dread has been replaced by something worse. Acceptance. You know this mall like you built it. You know which emergency exit sticks, and you have reported it 6 times and nothing has happened, and now it's just your nemesis. You know that the cleaning crew comes at 4 a.m. You know Miguel always smells like cigarettes and will absolutely talk to you for 20 minutes if you make eye contact. You have learned not to make eye contact. You made it once. He talked for 45 minutes. It was mostly about his cousin's truck. You now stare directly at the floor when Miguel approaches. Your supervisor is Dennis. Dennis takes his job with a level of seriousness that suggests he has never considered that other jobs exist. Dennis calls the mall the post. Dennis says things like, always protect the post. Dennis drives a 15-year-old Civic with a security company sticker on the back like it's a squad car. You respect Dennis. You also think Dennis might need a hobby. But every night around 2 a.m., you start noticing things. The same car parked outside the west entrance 3 nights in a row. A door in the back hallway that's always unlocked, even after you report it, which combined with the sticky emergency exit is raising some questions about who exactly is securing what here. A teenage kid who somehow gets into the closed mall and just sits by the fountain. You find him every time. Every time he says, "I wasn't doing anything." Every time, he's right. He's just sitting there. Honestly, at this point, you respect him more than Dennis. The real cost. Let's talk about the money because we need to. $11 an hour, 40 hours a week if you're lucky, $440 before the government takes its share, which is apparently significant because apparently even underpaid security guards don't get a pass. After rent, after food, after the bus pass they tell you to buy yourself and will absolutely not reimburse you for, you have about $60 left. $60 per paycheck. You start picking up overtime. Now you're working 6 nights a week. You sleep from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. You eat dinner at midnight like a vampire who couldn't afford the vampire lifestyle. You don't see sunlight for days. Your friends stop inviting you places, not because they're bad friends, but because your schedule is now actively hostile to human society. They're at a birthday party on Saturday, you're asleep. There at brunch on Sunday, you're doing your fourth loop around the Foot Locker. Your body starts falling apart too. Back hurts from the cheap boots, the ones you paid for. Eyes permanently dry. You catch a cold in month 2 that lives in your chest for 3 weeks because your immune system has simply given up and filed for early retirement. Dennis tells you you're doing great. He puts a note in your file. Outstanding attendance. You have sacrificed sleep, sunlight, your social life, your back, and possibly your will to live. And you got a note in a file that no one will ever read. Outstanding. The incident. Month 2. Something actually happens, and by something we mean the single event that every security guard training video prepares you for, and also the event that makes you realize that training was mostly just vibes. 3 a.m. round. You hear glass. Not breaking, just shifting, like someone leaning against a display case that doesn't work there. You stop. You cut the flashlight. You remember the training. Call it in, don't engage, wait for police. Great training. Excellent training. Very reasonable training for a person wearing a plastic badge and holding a flashlight that is currently, at this exact moment, flickering. You call it in. Voice low. Very professional. Dennis is apparently not protecting the post right now. You call again. Dennis is apparently not protecting the post right now. You leave a message. A message? You are potentially about to confront a burglar and you have left Dennis a voicemail. The police arrive in 12 minutes, and in those 12 minutes, you stand in the dark, heart rate completely unreasonable, holding a flickering flashlight, wearing a shirt that could fit 2 of you, realizing with absolute clarity that you are not equipped for this. No weapon, no backup, no armor. Just vibes and the ghost of Dennis's last motivational speech. Police find 2 teenagers in the store. Sneakers, 3 pairs. The store manager calls the next day to ask why response time was slow. You explain the situation. He does not care. Dennis puts a note in your file. Incident involvement. Not, great job staying calm. Not, brave work under pressure. Incident involvement. Like you broke in. Like you took the sneakers. The transfer. They move you to a new post. Better money, they say. $15 an hour. Hospital security, overnight, trauma center. You think, okay, real money, real purpose, real job. First night, you understand immediately why this post was open. A shopping mall at 2 a.m. is quiet. A trauma center at 2 a.m. is a completely different dimension of human experience. In the first hour, you help calm down a man who came in swinging. Not metaphorically swinging, actually swinging. You are still wearing the same type of shirt, still have the badge. They gave you a new one, but it's the same energy. Your job, officially, is to maintain a safe environment, which is a very clean way of saying you are the person standing between whatever is falling apart at 3 a.m. and the people trying to put it back together. And you see things. Things you won't describe at family dinners. Things that make the mall, the boring, quiet, Miguel-scented mall, feel like a vacation resort. A family in the waiting room. You stand by the door so no one disturbs the doctor going in. You don't know what's happening in that room. You don't have to. You can tell from the way the mother is sitting. You stand there. You say nothing. You hold the wall. $15 an hour. The numbness. 3 months at the hospital and something happens that no one in HR will ever mention in your onboarding. You stop flinching. Not because you're tough, not because you trained for it, just because the human brain presented with enough chaos on a regular schedule eventually files it under normal and moves on. You hear screaming now and your first thought is, which hallway? Not, oh no, not, is someone okay, just which hallway, left or right. This is called adaptation. It is, if you think about it for too long at 4 a.m., a little bit terrifying too. There's a guard named Ray. Ray has been here for 11 years. 11. He is the most unbothered human you have ever encountered. Nothing moves Ray. A full emergency and Ray is walking, not running, in the correct direction with the energy of a man heading to a moderately interesting lunch. You ask him how he does it. He looks at you. Long pause. You stop asking that question. And that is the moment you realize the job has got inside you. Not dramatically, not all at once, just quietly. level by level, like water finding cracks. The line. 6 months in, you know things. You know which nurses take long breaks in the stairwell and which ones are just crying because it was a bad night. You know more about the internal politics of this hospital than people who have worked here for a decade. Because security guards are furniture. People forget you're listening. They have whole conversations in front of you. Personal ones, complicated ones, occasionally ones that make you go, And then one night, a man in a suit approaches you. Not a patient, not a visitor, just a man in a suit at 1 a.m., which is already a weird combination. He says he's with a law firm. He says there's a case. He says he just needs a look at a transfer log from 3 weeks ago. He says it casually, like he's asking for directions. And then he tells you how much he's willing to pay. $500 for a look on a log.
You go home. You sit with it. $500 is almost your entire month's take-home for a log that you have access to, that no one is watching. Your boots have a hole in them. You bought them yourself. The company did not reimburse you. You have $60 until Friday. You think about Dennis, you think about Ray, you think about incident involvement. You make a decision. The mistake. You say yes. And listen, here's the thing about saying yes. It feels fine. Nothing explodes, no alarm goes off, no dramatic music, just $500 in your account 2 days later, and silence. That is the trap, not the crime, the silence after it. Because your brain, your very tired, underpaid, boot-hole-having brain, does the worst possible thing. It connects the dots. I did a thing, nothing happened, I have $500. 2 weeks later, he's back. New request, $1,000. And you feel something you have not felt since the mall, since the fountain kid, since Miguel's cousin's truck. You feel awake. You say yes again. The unraveling. You are still wearing the same shirt, still clocking in at 10, still writing in the log. But something has changed in how you move through this building. You're no longer watching for threats. You are watching for opportunities. Your eyes work differently now. You notice things with a new kind of attention. Then one Tuesday morning, quiet shift, nothing unusual, a woman stops you in the hallway. Administration. Lanyard. Clipboard. Smile that does not reach the eyes. She tells you there's been an internal review. She says some access logs look irregular. She says it's routine. She looks at you the entire time she says it, the way someone looks at you when they already know. You say, okay. Very calm, extremely calm. You finish the shift. You drive home. And parked outside your apartment, you sit in the car and feel it come back. That old friend. The one from the first night in the mall. That cold, animal, 3 a.m. in the dark feeling. Fear. The funny part, you had stopped feeling it for so long, it almost feels like something new. The ending. They let you go on a Friday. And here is the punchline, the real one, the one that is genuinely funny if you look at it from far enough away. They don't fire you for what you did. They let you go because they cut the overnight security contract. Budget reasons. A company from Ohio is taking over for $2 less per hour. Your badge is deactivated at noon. You hand in the flashlight, the one that still flickers. You walk out into actual daylight, which you have not seen at this hour in 6 months, and you stand in the parking lot squinting like a confused raccoon. And you realize you don't know if the review was real. You don't know if the man in the suit was a test. You don't know if anyone knows what you did. You don't know if the money matters, or if it's already forgotten, or if somewhere in a file it says something worse than incident involvement.